So I wanted to go over this section of the Chapter 5 notes with you, the standard normal distribution. The standard normal distribution is a normal distribution with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. The cumulative area is close to 0. As you get toward the more negative side, the area gets closer to 0. When we're talking about the area, we're talking about the area under the curve. The cumulative area increases as your z-scores increase. And then the cumulative area for z equals 0, which is the mean, is going to be 50% because it is 50% of your curve. And then as you get closer and closer and closer to this side, your area gets closer and closer to 1. Now when we look at these areas and we're using the charts in the back to calculate them, what you need to remember is the values given in the back for the area are to the left side of that line. We'll have to do a little manipulating when it comes to the right side. So if you look down here, it says using the standard normal table. This table can be found on page A16 and A17. And I wanted to go over how you can actually find the area and read the chart. So problem number 2 says find the cumulative area that corresponds to a z-score of 1.15. Well, here's how you're going to read the chart. 1.15 is positive, so it's going to be found on actually page A17. You are going to go down to 1.1, and then you're going to go over to the 0.05 column, which would be the number 0.8749. And that is your area under the curve for that z-score. And so what that means is for 1.15 as a z-score, that's about 87.49% of the area under the curve. To look at that visually, like if here is your 0, there's your mean. Here would be 1 standard deviation. 1.15 would be just a little bit past 1, and we're talking about all the area under the curve to this side of that line, and that is about 87.49% of your curve. You look at the next example. The next one is negative 0.24. The negative z-scores are found on page A16. So you would come over here, you would go down to negative 0.2, and then you would follow that line over to the 0.04 column, which is 0.4052. Or at that z-score, to the left of that is approximately 40.52% of the area. Now for a value of 0, that's one of our properties. The cumulative area when you have z equals 0 is 50% or 0.5000. Okay. If it states it as find the area under the curve to the left of a z-score, again you're just reading the chart as it is. Negative 2.19, you would go down to negative 2.1 on the chart, over to the 0.09 column, and that would give you an area of 0.0143, or about 1.43% of your area. Example B, 2.17, you would go down to 2.1 on page A17, and then you would go over to 0.07, and that gives you the value of 0.9850, or about 98.5% of your area. And again, a z-score of 0 is just going to be 0.5. Now if you look at the next page, if you look at these, example 4, notice it says find the area of the curve to the right. Well, the values in the back of the book on the chart are to the left, but what you need to remember is that the area under the curve should always equal 1 or 100%. So if we need to know to the right, all we have to do is find the value to the left and subtract. For example, a z-score of 1.06. Well, what I'm going to need to know is to find the area. Since I want to the right, it's going to be 1 minus a z-score of 1.06. Well, if you use the back of the book, a z-score of 1.06 to the left actually has a value of 0.8554. And when I subtract that from 1, that means that I have an area to the right of about 0.1446, or about 14.46%. Example B, a z-score of negative 2.16, that value will come to the left, so to find it to the right, I'm going to do 1 minus a z-score of negative 2.16, and that value is 0.0154. And so when I subtract those, 0.0154, you get about 0.9846. And that would be the area to the right. We'll skip that one. Okay. If you look at example 5, it says find the area under the standard normal curve between a z-score of negative 1.5 and a z-score of 1.25. You don't have to draw a picture, but sometimes a picture will help so you can kind of see what area you're focusing on. So if we draw our normal curve, it actually looks pretty darn good. Here's your 0. Here would be a z-score of 1, a z-score of 2. Here would be a z-score of negative 1, negative 2. Okay, we are interested in the area that is between a z-score of negative 1.5 and a z-score of 1.25. And so we're really interested in this section. Well, what you need to think about is how can you use the numbers in the back to figure out that area? Well, if you really look at it, since the numbers in the back are talking about to the left, we really want everything to the left of 1.25, except for this little piece here, which is what is left of negative 1.5. So to find that area, I am going to take a z-score of 1.25, finding the area to the left of it, and from that I am going to subtract this area to the left of a z-score of negative 1.5, and that should give me the area in between. Well, those two values, let's see, a z-score of 1.25 gives you a value of 0.8944. Negative 1.5 gives you a z-score of 0.0668. When I subtract those two, 0.8944 minus 0.0668, I get an area of 0.8276, or about 82.76% of the area under the curve.